G'day folks. First up, I'm just gonna pull this bad boy apart and then we can actually have a look at slightly more fun little projects there. So just in case you haven't torn one of these down and you need to know how to do it, it's not too complicated. The most difficult part about these, honestly, is flexing those to the side, because you just got to flex the sides out to get these little covers here to fit in the grooves. There's a groove just part way along there. So more flexing. This one here is probably the key one that is super underestimated, super important, because that's a little plate that meets with the sensor here, and that's the sensor that tells the gear, well, tells the MOSFET, slide us forward, turn off the gears. And that got bumped out of place one of the first few times I used it, so I had the endless full auto until you flick it off at the switch problem. But then that's super easy, push it forward, slide it back, and that's your slide completely disassembled. We'll put that together again at the end of the video, but on to the fun part. So the plan here is try and fit double batteries in by cutting out all of the sides and molding a wider end on it. Plan is work with a friend who's got all of the supplies for making his molds for cosplay and all that kind of fun stuff. And the idea will be Dremel out everything up until that top layer. So I keep the intact top, I keep the rails the same, I keep keep the slide connection the same, keep that top surface the same, keep the front the same, keep the underside the same, but everywhere where we're not making this wider radius, cut it out and make a mold and put a resin cast in. Why on earth would I do this? So I've got a Glock that looks fairly stock, that is fairly much the same as normal, and fits in a hard case holster, because every single solution to run one of these on 14 volts, got a Beretta circuit board, involves having extra bits hanging off it. I want it to be one piece, no bulky sights on top, no extra batteries hanging out the bottom, no torch, just Glock hard case holster, all fits just like it used to. And what we've got here is we've got a width just on 29mm for our sides, and then the batteries here tend to be 12 true or so. So it's going to be a tight fit for sure. Will be a bit of a squeeze. I have looked at some batteries that I could replace two of these with, and that's they clock in at 11mm wide, I believe. Might even be 11 by 9 or 10. So we're going to fit a bit better with the other ones. And there are some options, but once we don't have any of this Picatinny rail extending in, the option will be there. The current plan is monster clay, fill that out, and then just bog everything up to the point that we want it to be, and I mean, spend some time, shave that down to exactly the shape, continuing the same curves, the same radius, the same dimensions, and probably mask the top of it up, shove the whole thing into silicon alginate, and then rip all the clay off, Dremel everything out, cut the mold in half, and resin the inside of the mold right up against everything. So get a nice thin shell of resin, because I believe with the 12mm, 12.5 on battery width gets us to 24, 25 mil, and our outside diameter is 29. So with no tolerances at all, there's still 4 mil for the two walls, so 2 mil wall thickness. So I will give that a shot. And for everyone who needs to see how to put one of these together, let's get started. Actually, they should go barrel first, I believe. So slide that nozzle through the hole. That's sitting right. Now, I like to throw these in diagonally, and then once it's mostly in place, flex it out sideways and get a little twist just to pop it in place. And we get a little bit easier here. So line one side up, flex it out, drop the second one in, and it's good to go. Snap this bad boy in, because without it, we don't go anywhere. Well, we don't stop shooting. No single, no auto, everything, no select, full auto all the time, whenever the trigger's pulled, until it's turned off. Then, slide that bad boy in there. This battery's just stopped in the right. So the one thing that you may need to be aware of is if the gears stop in the wrong spot. If you've got the sector gears up, it might not play ball 100%. So just keep pulling the trigger. Where are we on? We're off at the moment, but keep pulling the trigger and hitting the sensor until you get those sector gears pointing downwards, and then it's nice and easy. Spring guard, slide it back a little bit, and well, we didn't quite get that sector gear the whole way down. It's catching on the cylinder, on the piston, but we can still put it together. That being said, it's helpful when you remember the battery. So, that's how you would put it together if you haven't left pieces out, and that's the plan.